faithful to see Chuck Knox's Buffalo Bills in a rematch of their playoff battle against the Chargers, the Eastern Division. Knox's Bills a half game behind Miami, but the Dolphins have won and are now 9-4, and the Jets are playing currently at Seattle. Meanwhile, Don Coryell on the San Diego Chargers sidelines.
Coryell, one of the most intense coaches in the NFL, certainly pleased to see his team at 8-5, but they have a crucial edge over both of their co-leaders in that division. They lead head-to-head in the race with Kansas City, and they lead in divisional record against the Denver Broncos, so they are currently in first place.
And both Denver and Kansas City, one of those teams probably will lose. They meet currently at Mile High Stadium. We'll be in touch with scoring reports throughout our game. Rolf Brynerska kicks it off to the blue-clad Buffalo Bills. Riddick, the rookie, at the 5. And he is wrestled down at the 21-yard line. The Bills bring it on their offensive unit with Joe Ferguson, the quarterback. Number 12, and Ferguson a healthy quarterback today. Big Roosevelt Leaks at one running back, and Joe Cribbs back from the injured list at the other running spot. Jerry Butler and Frank Lewis, two speed runners on the outside. Tight end Mark Bramer. The offensive line, Ken Jones, John Borkart, Will Grant, Conrad Dobler. Starting at right guard, Joe Devlin at right tackle.
That decision to start Dobler might indicate a tendency to pass early by the Buffalo Bills.
From the Bills' 21-yard line, Leaks for 6 yards as he's out to the 27-yard line before Lyndon King from Colorado State and Alabama's Woody Lowe can make the tackle. The Charger defense, and much maligned, especially earlier this year. Woodcock playing the spot vacated when Fred Dean went to San Francisco. Big Hands Johnson, Louis Kelcher, and Leroy Jones completes the front four. The middle linebacker Bob Horn, flanked by Woody Lowe and Lyndon King. Defensive backs Allen Ellis starting for Mike Williams, veteran Willie Buchanan with Edwards and Shaw at safety. Second down 4. The toss to Cribbs. And he's met by Pete Shaw, short of the first down. Shaw from Northwestern coming up from his safety spot.
Cribbs not showing the kind of explosive running ability that we have seen from him, Dick. He's coming back off a rib injury, and you'll see that he looks bulky around the midriff, wearing a flak jacket to try and protect those ribs, but he was wearing the flak jacket when he broke the ribs.
It has been a season for the fractured ribs, and of course Dan Fouts apparently having that same injury, and they'll be watched closely. It's third down and 3 at the 28. Ferguson's first throw. Incomplete, broken up by Buchanan, intended for Jerry Butler. And the Charger fans cheer the defense.
Although the Charger defense ranks currently 27th in the league, they have played better in the last 2 weeks. They've come on with some pressure on the quarterback, 11 sacks in the past 2 weeks. Jack Pardee feels that maybe they're finally getting together after a very frustrating season.
Greg Cater, his numbers on the year, hitting a 41-yard average. Rookie James Brooks at the 29 of San Diego. Cater, a high but a very short kick. And it takes a San Diego bounce, and Rod Cush is able to down it at the Buffalo 47-yard line. A 20-yard punt, no return by Greg Cater, and the Chargers get the first break of the game. Here comes the Charger offense. Dan Fouts, who needs only 114 yards for 4,000 this year. James Brooks and Chuck Muncy, he's just a handful of yards away from the 1,000-yard mark. Needs 2 touchdowns today to set an all-time NFL rushing touchdown record. Joyner, Chandler, Winslow, the receivers, Shields, Wilkerson, Masick, White, and Washington on the front line. From the 47 of Buffalo, Fouts to throw. Deflected and almost intercepted. It was intended for Joyner.
Number 77, Big Ben Williams, and got his hands up in front of that one. Fouts wasting no time going to the air. Let's go through that defensive lineup, Dick.
All right, Merlin. Williams, Smirlis, the big nose tackle, and Sherman White up front. Sanford, Haslett, veteran Villapiano, and Isaiah Robertson, the linebackers. Mario Clark and Charles Romes at the corners, and Freeman and Simpson at safety. And as you pointed out, Merlin Olsen, earlier, at times Chuck Knox will go with a 4-man line and 7 defensive backs. Well, we have some upsets today in the National Football League involving teams fighting for a playoff, and we'll update all the scores for you in just a moment. Fouts 2nd and 10. Complete. Joyner, and it's close to a first down at the 36-yard line. It appears he has the first down. Rome's the defender for Buffalo.
Charlie Joyner, one of the great control receivers in the NFL. Runs precise patterns, and the man puts the ball on the target as Fouts. He throws to the point. And you notice with a defender immediately behind Joyner, that ball is thrown down at the ground. Had that ball been missed, it would have gone through the ground. No chance for the interception there.
They'll bring on the chain gang for the measure. 10 yards plus or minus. At the 37 of Buffalo, it appears to be a little short. So it'll be 3rd down and inches. I stuck in some finals for you. As you see today's officials, Miami 24, New England 14. San Francisco beat Cincinnati 21-3. A big win for the 49ers. An upset. Washington 15, the Eagles 13. The Giants have defeated the Rams 10-7. St. Louis bombed New Orleans 30-3. Upset. Bears 10, Minnesota 9. Green Bay was beating Detroit at last report. That would move Green Bay right back into the Central Division picture. And, of course, Tampa Bay is there as well. And Green Bay leading the Lions 31-17 late. As Muncy has a first down and out of bounds at the Buffalo 22.
Big Chuck Muncy. What a load he is when he gets to the outside. Tremendous power and great speed for the big back. Now watch him take the ball and just fly to the outside. He is deceptively fast and a great sliding move. Just ducked outside of a couple of defenders, and it takes a whole passel of them. Watch the quick move Muncy makes. He'll look like he's going inside and then just skips to the outside. Great explosion, great run.
Fouts back to live action, and it's incomplete to Muncy. A little screen in the left flat that was well read by Isaiah Robertson. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 22 of Buffalo. The temperature today is 70 degrees. No breeze to be concerned with, but the San Diego area, the west coast of Southern California, has been hit with very heavy fog in the early evenings of late. We were lucky to make it in from South Bend, and apparently a high school game here last night in the second half. They had to have someone on the field to call up to the radio booth to tell them what was happening because you could not see the field from our location. It was that foggy. From the 22, it's Brooks. And he's ridden out at the 20 after a short game by Phil Filipiano, the veteran from Bowling Green, wearing number 41.
Reports are, Dick, that it's snowing or has been snowing in Buffalo. I'm sure both teams glad that this game is here in sunny Southern California. The Buffalo Bills enjoy playing in this stadium. They enjoy playing on natural turf. They enjoy the warmth. They're getting a chance to stretch their muscles for the first time in quite a while. And they have played well in this stadium in the last couple of seasons.
As we indicated at the start, even with an injured quarterback Joe Ferguson, they came within 2 minutes of beating the Chargers in the playoffs here last year. 4 wide receivers in for Fouts. It's Joyner and a first down at the 10-yard line. Joyner got up just in case. Bill Simpson had contact. A 10-yard throw, and the Chargers are at 1st and goal.
You simply cannot give Dan Fouts time to throw the football. He'll do this to you every time. Joyner, not the first choice. I think probably the 2nd or 3rd choice on this pass. Fouts again, throwing the ball low, and someone watching at home might say, that was a bad pass, was it? No, that was not a bad pass. Fouts throwing low because the defenders were right behind his receiver, and he wanted the ball in an area where it could not be intercepted if Joyner happened to miss it.
1st and goal with almost the full 10 yards to go. Only Muncy behind Fouts. It's Muncy for a touchdown! Chuck Muncy has just tied Hall of Famer Jimmy Taylor and Earl Campbell his 19th rushing touchdown this year, tying the NFL record.
If Fouts can keep his running game going, he takes tremendous pressure off his
Benershka out of Luther's hold for the extra point. And the Chargers on their first possession get 7. Timeout. We played 3.5 minutes of the first quarter, and the San Diego Chargers on Chuck Muncy's touchdown lead it 7-0.
Up in Seattle, the Seahawks have moved ahead of the Jets. Young Dave Craig subbing for Jim Zorn. A 7-yard touchdown pass to Sam McCullum. Point after was missed. Seattle leads the Jets 6-0. Let's go back to San Diego and Dick Enberg.
7-0. The San Diego Chargers take the early lead against the Buffalo Bills. Benershka to kick it off. Or as soon as he kicks it, he'll head to the sidelines, and it's basically a 10-man defense for the Chargers. It's Riddick again, a very short kick at the 15. And he gets to the 27-yard line, and that is all. Rob Riddick from Millersville State, Pennsylvania.
Let's go back and take a quick look at Muncy. He's going to break to the outside behind a great block by Kellen Winslow, number 80, and behind the blocking of number 63, Doug Wilkerson. But it's Muncy's tremendous speed and his ability to break an arm tackle that allowed him to spring loose. Let's look a little more closely at that great block on Isaiah Robertson. Robertson, the contained man, just simply does not get to the outside, trips over one of his own players who had been knocked down, opened the way for Muncy to go in for the touchdown.
Chuck Muncy, a 9-yard run. There are the totals, 46 yards in 7 plays after Cater's short kick. Ferguson going long. Butler watches it bounce out of bounds as he was well covered. Alan Ellis, number 48, on the coverage.
Number 79, Gary Big Hands Johnson, pressuring Joe Ferguson. As you look at his stats on this season, Ferguson has had a good year, but has had a couple of pretty sour games. Last week a clunker for him, and had it not been for some great defensive play by this Buffalo Bill defense, they would not have been able to overcome the Washington Redskins. But Ferguson is one of the strongest quarterbacks in the NFL. Watching him in practice yesterday, Dick, amazing the strength he has and the velocity he has on the football. He needs some of that. He needs to get it going here for his Buffalo offense.
Former Arkansas star from his 27, 2nd and 10. Big hole for Joe Cribbs, and he blasts out to the 35-yard line before Jim Laszlovic and Pete Shaw can collaborate on the tackle. An 8-yard gain. It'll be 3rd and 2.
A much different run than we saw when Cribbs handled the ball the first time. He was very tentative. Watch the explosion here. This is the kind of quickness, a little misdirection there as he ducks in behind number 48, Roosevelt Leaks. Cribbs not showing the effects of that rib injury as he goes head-to-head with the Charger defense.
At the 35 of Buffalo. Leaks. He doesn't make it. John Woodcock, number 90. Louis Kelcher, 74. Gary Johnson, 79. They were all there to meet Leaks. Short of the first down. 4th and 1. And again, the Chargers love their defense.
Big Louis Kelcher. San Diego's rushing defense has not been as poor during this season as their passing defense. Actually, they rank 8th in the NFL against the rush, but last in the NFL against the pass.
Brooks back at the 23 as Cater. Again, a short kick. And it takes a Buffalo bounce, but out of bounds at the 26 of the Chargers. So San Diego has the ball for the second time. 9 minutes and 56 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Chargers lead the Bills 7-0. Here in San Diego, 7-0. Chargers lead. They have the ball at the 26-yard line. And Ometiview in the Madison, Wisconsin area. We're expecting to see the Jets in Seattle. Right after this play, we'll explain that we're working that out for you. James Brooks, the Chargers, nothing there. Dave Craig, of course, the youngster from Milton College near Madison, and many fans there. We had an excellent pregame piece on NFL 81. Has already thrown a touchdown pass in the first quarter, and Seattle leads the Jets 6-0. They missed the extra point. We've had some problems, but Midwestern Relay System says that at 4:30, that'll be about 10 minutes or so from now, they'll be able to make the proper switches, and you will get there in the Madison, Wisconsin area, your young hero, Damon Runyon's story there, Dave Craig against the New York Jets. And we ask you to be patient. Hope you enjoy this Charger-Buffalo game for the next 10 minutes. On 2nd and 9, Fouts in traffic, dumps it off to Brooks, and Steve Freeman hits him immediately at the 28-yard line. Freeman from Mississippi State, the free safety.
George Smerlas, number 76, over to help put Brooks away. Brooks, by the way, is a tremendous addition for the San Diego Chargers, Dick. Not only with his running ability, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry, but he's also a fine blocker and an excellent pass receiver, and surprisingly strong for a relatively light back. He really puts some hurt on people in that defensive secondary.
Brooks is only 55 yards short of gaining a mile this year, all-purpose yards, passing, receiving, returning kicks. Fouts, a quickie. Oh, almost intercepted. It would have been a touchdown for number 28, Rufus Bess. Oh, my.
Dwight Scales, number 87, the attended receiver, and Rufus Bess in with a whole host of defensive backs. Read that pass perfectly. Fouts throwing it on target. Watch the little move right at the end. Bess stepped right in front of Scales and just had an opportunity to go right through his fingers for 7 points. That had touchdown written all over it.
In fairness to Bess, it appears that Scales might have gotten a piece of it to knock it away. So George Roberts, kicking for the first time, will deliver to Roland Hooks. And Riddick, who stand at the Buffalo 30. Line of scrimmage is the San Diego 28.
We're looking at the only left-footed kicker in the NFL, Dick. And you might say, what's interesting about that? Well, one thing, it creates havoc for the receivers at the other end. They're marching off a penalty against the San Diego Chargers. The reason for that is when the ball is kicked with the left foot, it rotates in the opposite direction, tends to tail off in the opposite direction. And receivers who are used to catching a football off the right foot have a tendency sometimes to misjudge the football.
Kind of like hitting against a right-handed pitcher all year, and then finally only you face a left-hander and everything just is turned around. In this case, after the 5-yard delay of game penalty, Roberts, oh, he scuffs one. And it goes right into the San Diego Charger bench. It will be marked near midfield at the 49 of Buffalo. So each kicker having his difficulties. 28 yards on that one. Buffalo has the ball, trailing by 7.
High Stadium in Denver, the Broncos have gone ahead of the Chiefs. The score set up by this play. Craig Morton airing it out to Steve Watson. He gets down to the 5. The play covers 86 yards. Rob Lytle takes the final 2 for the touchdown. It's 7-0 in Denver. Let's go back to the sunshine and Dick and Merlin.
And sunny it is, Brian Gumbel. Denver takes the early lead, and of course Denver, Kansas City, San Diego all tied at 8-5.
Both teams here, of course, watching divisional opponents. San Diego Chargers very anxious about that game, knowing that one of those ties is going to be broken today with a loss by either Denver or Kansas City.
Short kick, and Buffalo takes over at its 49-yard line. Joe Ferguson looking for his first completion, going long for Butler. And it's incomplete. Butler with a little shove on number 28, Willie Buchanan. No flag because Buchanan could not catch the ball. The rule is no different whether it's the potential pass interceptor or the receiver. If there's no chance to catch the ball, even though there was contact, that's a good no call.
Buchanan having a little chat with the official. Not a good pass, and certainly Buffalo's offense not on track here in the early going. This is their first break of the game. The San Diego Chargers took advantage of starting inside of Buffalo territory on a very bad punt to get their 7 points. Let's see if maybe Buffalo can't take advantage of this early opportunity for themselves.
Frank Lewis, top of your picture. Split right is Butler. That's Cribbs on a wing right. 2nd and 10, Ferguson. Eludes the rush. And has a man, Butler. Great catch. Wesley in control. No, at the 20-yard line.
Dick, I talked about the strength of number 12, Joe Ferguson, earlier. Now watch the kind of strength it takes to get out of the grasp of the defenders here. They've got good pressure on him. He alertly sees a little room up front, steps over. They get a hand on him there. He simply pulls away and then stops and fires a perfect strike. Powerful pass, great arm action, and it looked like a reception. The ball bounced out at the end. We're watching a great battle between Conrad Dobler and Louis Kelcher. We'll talk more about that. Dobler using everything, including his feet, to try and keep Kelcher off his quarterback.
3rd down and 10, and the Bills offense has been stymied thus far. 3rd possession, looking for the first down out of the shotgun. Ferguson to Butler, and incomplete. Apparently Butler had gone out of bounds, and in coming back inbounds was not an eligible receiver.
Anytime the receiver steps on the line or out of bounds, the hats will come off the officials on the sideline. There's no penalty for that. It's just that he simply cannot come back in and catch the pass after he has touched the sideline or stepped out of bounds.
Joe Ferguson has not been very happy, and he hasn't, or nor has his offense, done much to bring a smile to anyone on the Buffalo side.
I think perhaps the most unhappy man on that sideline might be Chuck Knox.
After a 19 and a 38-yard punt, Cater hits this one nicely, and Brooks has the fair catch at the 9-yard line. Now the San Diego Chargers, no return of a 42-yard kick. Timeout. 7:54 left, first quarter. San Diego has the ball at the 10-yard line. Midway through the first quarter, the Chargers in front 7-0 on a 9-yard Chuck Muncie run that tied an NFL rushing touchdown record. 19 touchdowns this year for Muncie. And this is Muncie with the ball. And the play that went for the touchdown is stopped for little or no gain. Maybe a yard before Jim Haslett from Indiana, Pennsylvania. And Isaiah Robertson of Southern University can make the tackle.
Isaiah Robertson, number 58, getting outside of the block of number 80, Kellen Winslow, to force that play back inside. And that's what you have to do to contain that single-man sweep. Muncie's strong enough to run that play without blocking. They're counting on him being able to break arm tackles and simply run over the top of people, Dick.
Muncie from California. Fouts with all day to find his tight end, Kellen Winslow, and a first down at the 22-yard line. 11 yards on the throw. Robertson with the tackle. Winslow, earlier this year against Oakland, had 5 touchdown receptions in one game.
4 of those touchdowns in just over 9 minutes during the game. Amazing. But again, we talk about the difficulties you're going to encounter if you give Dan Fouts time to throw the football. Winslow certainly is his favorite target in the past few weeks, and Winslow can catch that football.
Muncie, not much there. He's swarmed by the blue jerseyed Bills. Robertson and Haslett, the linebackers. Also into the play was Lucius Sanford and Jim Haslett. So all 4 backers had a piece of that action. Dan Fouts hitting 58% of his passes this year, already with 29 touchdowns and only 14 interceptions, sacked but 17 times. And he needed today 114 yards for the second straight 4,000-yard passing season. No one has ever done that back-to-back. Wes Chandler with Joyner in motion, and then they flip to Muncie. Great throw by Fouts, and Muncie dropped short of the 30-yard line. That won't be enough for a first down. Sanford made the tackle. What a throw by Fouts. He led Muncie just right so that he was going full speed upfield.
That looks like such a simple pass, and yet I think it's one of the most difficult passes to throw in the game of football. Fouts threw it so that Muncie did not ever have to break stride. Took it in full stride, took it right in front of that shoulder, and able then to in effect take a long handoff from his quarterback, get outside of the linebacker. A couple of other linebackers out there to greet him, but not until he gained some fine yardage.
7 yards in the play. It's 3rd and 2 at the 29. Uh-oh. Flags are down. Muncie stopped at the 31. Would be very close to a first down if there was no flag, but apparently that flag will be against the Buffalo Bills. And now, so that you fans in the Madison, Wisconsin area can watch your own Dave Craig of Milton College, we switch that portion of our network to the Seattle, New York Jets game. Five yards against the Buffalo Bills. First down, San Diego at the 34. And apparently it was a defensive back that was offside.
No, 2 defensive linemen, or 2 defensive linemen on the left side offside. And they do move their backs up in very close, Dick, and very often you'll see defensive backs right up on the line of scrimmage for the Buffalo Bills. Some very unusual sets as they employ their 6 and 7 defensive backs.
That statistic, 5 first downs to none. The domination of the Chargers in this first quarter. They lead 7-0. A long one. Out of bounds for Wes Chandler, acquired from the New Orleans Saints to fill the void when John Jefferson went to Green Bay. Back on the coverage, 45, Bill Simpson, one of your former teammates with the Los Angeles Rams.
What a wonderful story. Last year in the 5th game of the season, Bill Simpson came down from Los Angeles to watch the Buffalo Bills. He had some friends who were playing in the game, sat in the stands. 2 of the safeties, Cush and Nixon, were hurt in that game. He went out after the game to talk to Chuck Knox. Chuck said, go pack your bags and come to Buffalo. And Simpson went to Buffalo. The next week he was starting. He's been starting ever since. This year named the most valuable defensive back by the Buffalo Bills. Quite a story.
For a man who was too injured to play, had 4 interceptions last year. He has 4 more this year.
Whoa.
Joyner at the 45-yard line. Freeman with a tackle. San Diego first down. Third catch for Joyner, 22 yards on that play.
In preparation for this game, the Buffalo Bills watched the Cincinnati Bengals work on Fouts and the Chargers, and they said they wanted to attack him, wanted to get after him. They certainly have not been able to do it. And Fouts has had time to get back, to look at his receivers, and to get them the football. I don't think there's a quarterback in football reads coverage and reads the open field better than Dan Fouts.
And Charlie Joyner, you get it near him, and you've got yourself a reception. Too long and intercepted. Mario Clark at the 30,
Ooh,
40.
Look out.
He's at the 45, the 40. And finally corralled at the San Diego 25-yard line by Fouts, the quarterback. Clark's 4th interception of the year, and a big turnaround for the Bills. A 53-yard return for Clark.
Very uncharacteristic mistake for Fouts. That ball looked like it took off on him. Sailed over the head of the intended receiver. And Clark, had he really decided to run this football, looked like he had open room up the sideline. Looks like he wants to tiptoe here, Dick. He may hear about that from his defensive coordinator.
And Fouts himself, as you see him throw, able to hustle over and at least prevent the interception touchdown.
Tried to put some body English on that one.
At the 25-yard line, Leaks and Cribbs behind Ferguson. Cribbs, a couple at best. 2 yards before Bob Horn, the middle backer from Oregon State, can make the tackle. Let's run down all the scores for you. The finals, Miami stays at least in a tie for first with a victory against New England 24-14. San Francisco showing its mettle. Oh, if they come on. Bill Walsh's team beating a fine Cincinnati team in Cincinnati 21-3. It was Philadelphia losing its 3rd in a row. The Redskins a 15-13 upset. And the Rams lose again. The Giants at home with a 10-7 come from behind win. We'll have more in a moment. 2nd down and 8 at the 23 of San Diego. Play action. Butler. Incomplete as the Chargers had 2 men on the speedster from Clemson. Both Ellis and Edwards on the coverage. The rest of the scores today in the National Football League, the final scores.
Joe Ferguson shaking his head, apparently unhappy with the pattern run by Butler. The communications appear to be breaking down a little bit on the passing game for Buffalo. A couple of extra receivers, Ron Jesse in. They've put 3 wide receivers in. Bramer, the tight end, goes out along with Cribbs, the running back. Let's see if they can't pick up this first down. They failed to capitalize on their first opportunity. That bad punt by Roberts. Now they've got a great field position. Let's see if they can do something with it.
Out of the shotgun. Chargers counter with an extra defensive back. He needs 8 for a first down, and he's got it. First down at the 10-yard line. A perfect strike to Jerry Butler. And for the Bills, that is just their 2nd first down, their first first down of this game, and it comes with 3 minutes left in the first quarter.
Very tough assignment for number 48, Allen Ellis, working one-on-one on a very quick receiver. And if that ball is thrown properly, almost impossible to defend against that one-on-one. Butler, one of the outstanding receivers in the NFL, certainly showing his skills on that particular play.
12 yards on the throw. First down at the San Diego 11. Buffalo trailing the Chargers 7-0. Roosevelt leaks. And he blasts close to the goal line. He's down to the 2 and near another first down. Leaks with 9 yards before King can make the tackle. And the big guy from Texas showing some agility and power.
One of the reclamation projects that Chuck Knox is proud of. Watch the adjustment he makes. No hole outside. He cuts back against the grain inside and literally makes that yardage by knowing where the open territory was. I think very often great backs who can make that kind of move have to do it with their eyes as much as their bodies.
2nd and 2 at the 3-yard line. Ferguson rolling. He's going to take it in himself. Touchdown. Joe Ferguson. King tackled him, but too late. And the Bills are on the board. So Mario Clark's interception and return of 53 yards, setting up Ferguson's rollout score.
On Jesse, number 81 coming in motion, turns back the other way. Looks like an option pass or run. Ferguson sees he has a chance to get to the outside. Legs it into the end zone. Lyndon King, 57, tackling him a full 3 or 4 yards out of bounds. I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see a flag on that play. Look how far out of bounds Ferguson is when he takes the tackle here from Lyndon King.
Ferguson's first touchdown score of this year, and Nick Mickemeyer adds the extra point, and the game is even. 1 minute, 54 seconds left in the first quarter here at Jack Murphy San Diego Stadium. The Bills and Chargers are even at 7. The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League, and nicely done by linebacker Jim Haslett of the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have tied the game at 7, less than 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Mickemeyer to kick off, and Brooks is the deep man for the San Diego Chargers. Comes to Shaw at the 8. 15. And he gets to the 17-yard line. Little late action, but no flag. Rod Cush, 42, is there, along with Humiston, a linebacker.
That was a play designed to start up the left side and reverse around the right side, Dick. But very alert play by 42 Frank Cush, and some of the other members of that coverage squad were able to keep the play from getting outside. Brooks started up the left side, and then he was going to cut it back, simply unable to do so because Cush got inside of him, or actually Pete Shaw, number 44, the man who ended up with the football, wanting to get back around to the right side.
Rod Cush, no relation to Frank Cush, the coach. Fouts completes it to Winslow, and he's at the 31-yard line, and a flag is down back where Ben Williams hit Dan Fouts.
Williams, I think, a little bit, no.
Holding against San Diego.
I'm going to say a little bit late getting there, but they apparently detected someone hanging onto his jersey as he came around the outside. That would be big Russ Washington, number 70, who is back in the lineup after having some knee problems over the past few weeks. He might be having some mobility problems against a very active Ben Williams.
Holding, number 70.
Number 70 is Russ Washington. Duck in those other finals for you. The Bears upset Minnesota 10-9. Green Bay over Detroit 31-17. In progress, Dallas leading Baltimore 27-13 in the fourth quarter. Seattle 6-0 over the Jets in the first quarter on a Dave Craig to Sam McCullum throw. So the Chargers from inside their 9-yard line, and Fouts drills it to Joyner at the 29 and a first down. 4 catches for Joyner already. That one good for 20 yards.
Buffalo Bills counting on a 3-man rush. They're dropping 8 men back, and they do not get to Fouts. He can stand back there and eat his lunch, and if you give him that amount of time, he'll eat your lunch. Ball into the hands of Joyner. First down, out of the hole, and on the 30-yard line. San Diego moving again.
Joyner is moving ever so close to the 500 catch mark. Fouts on first down. They love to throw, and he wants to go long, but they're well covered. He dumps it off beautifully to Brooks, and he has nearly another first down at the 40-yard line before Villapiano can trip him up. Joyner had gone deep, And Fouts looked right deep, looked left deep, and then just dumped it off to his safety valve, and Brooks made good yardage. 9 yards on the play.
We're looking at the two of the best protected quarterbacks in the league today. Fouts, the number 3 in terms of best protection. 17 sacks on the year, but 6 of those sacks in one game against the Cincinnati Bengals. You cannot give him that amount of time to throw the football. Brooks, a very valuable addition, as we'd indicated, making the most out of that little let-out pass to him.
And the presence of Fouts to know where everyone was and finally hitting his 3rd man. But for the Chargers, that play will not count. They did not get it off before the end of the 1st quarter. We've completed the first 15 minutes here in San Diego, California. 2 teams with identical 8-5 records are even after 15 minutes at 7. To the 2nd quarter with a 7-7 tie. That's Tom Catlin, assistant coach of the Bills.
He's the defensive coordinator. Last week, an interesting play in that Washington game. The officials made a mistake. Catlin yelled at them, and they took a play away from the Washington Redskins. We'll explain that here in a minute. But a very big play in that win last week over the Redskins.
Former Oklahoma All-American, played with the Cleveland Browns. He's got a mathematical mind. Speaking of mathematics, there they are, 1st quarter.
First quarter stats certainly favoring the Chargers in terms of yardage, 120-43. But the most important stat, the score, very even at 7-7. Let's quickly tell that story. Last week, Theismann had been knocked out of the game. Critical 3rd and 27 situation. There was a play run with the backup quarterback Tom Flick in the game. Penalty called. Theismann came back in, completed a pass, but because he had not been out for an official play, they stopped, took the ball back, and it ended up to be one of the critical plays of the game, Dick.
Chuck Muncy blasts up the middle almost at will. Robertson and Freeman finally made the tackle. 1st down near midfield.
Well, you can't run up through defense unless you have room to run. And Muncy's got about a mile right there. Great blocking by the 2 guards in the center. Masick at center. Wilkerson and White, 2 of the very biggest guards in the NFL. And they're ripping on that play as they get Smirlis and the linebackers aside for big Chuck Muncy.
San Diego at its 48-yard line. 1st down. Remember, they were back at their 9 after the penalty. That's Wes Chandler. And he's to the 41 of Buffalo. Close to another 1st down before Lucius Sanford can make the tackle.
Dick, I asked Wes Chandler if there was a difference in the way Archie Manning threw the ball to him in New Orleans as opposed to Dan Fouts. He said, yes, as a matter of fact, 2 things. He said Manning threw the ball to the receiver. Fouts throws the ball to the spot. If you're not there, you don't get the football. And the other big difference, Fouts throws with a 5-step drop on most patterns. Manning with a 7-step drop. And he said, I have to make up that difference in my pass route. Get there in a hurry.
While they measure for the 1st down, it's a San Diego 1st down. Fouts 10 more yards. Let's go to New York. And this update with Bryant.
All right, Dick, in the Chargers, you've got 1 of 3 co-leaders in the AFC West. The other 2 are matching wits out in Denver, and the Broncos are getting the better of the Chiefs. They are driving right now and already holding a 10-0 lead in the 2nd period. Dick?
Thank you, Bryant. The Broncos trying to rally from a couple of tough defeats, and one here last week against San Diego. The Chargers are 1st down at the 41 of Buffalo. A 7-7 tie, early 2nd quarter. Fouts to Chandler. Well read by the Bills, and that'll be a loss. Mario Clark, the man who had the interception that set up the Bills touchdown, former star at Oregon, born and raised in Pasadena, California. So he's playing in front of some friends and folks today, makes the play defensively, and it's a sizable loss. Back to the 45-yard line, call it a -4. For Fouts then, with a -4, he now has 3,982 yards. He needs 18 more to reach the 4,000-yard mark.
7 defensive backs in the game for Buffalo. One of them down is the defensive lineman.
Fouts to Chandler at the 29, 1st down. Jeff Nixon, one of those 7 defensive backs, made the tackle. 16 yards on the play, so Fouts needs just 2 more for 4,000.
If you're going to beat Dan Fouts and these Chargers offensively, you've got to rattle Fouts. You've got to knock him off his timing. You may not necessarily have to sack him, but you've got to be able to force him to throw the ball before he wants to throw it. He has not had to do that today, and he is tearing up this Buffalo defense.
Dwight Scales in the game to the right with Joyner to the left. And Fouts fakes the little reverse to Brooks. And now in trouble. And will duck out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. He got about a yard after all that dancing.
Fouts basically does not want to run the football, especially with those sore ribs, wisely stepping out of bounds. But you see how much time he was willing to take to try and spot the open receiver. A very capable quarterback, showing the influence of his early training by Bill Walsh, the fine coach of the 49ers. Walsh training some of the outstanding quarterbacks around the league in his tenure as an assistant at various spots around the NFL.
Fouts, who set an NFL record last year, 4,715 yards, and he's on that pace again this year, needing to go for the 4,000 club again. And looking for it here on 2nd and 9. He's got it. Kellen Winslow. Fouts is over 4,000. It is not enough for a first down, and brings up 3rd down. Let's go back to New York and Bryant Gumbel.
Okay, Dick, very quickly, up in the Kingdome, the Jets have drawn even with the Seahawks. Richard Todd, 12 yards to Scott Durking for the score, but like the Seahawks did, the Jets missed the point after. They're deadlocked at 6 in the first. Dick?
Well, that's been an epidemic today, Bryant. So many missed extra points. Not so here, where Buffalo and San Diego both successful. The game is tied at 7. Second quarter, 11:35 left before halftime. A critical 3rd and 4. Brooks unable to make the catch. Looked as if he might have been looking into the sun the way he reacted to trying to receive that ball.
I think maybe he was, Dick. He is a fine pass receiver, and it might have been that he lost that one in the sun as he looked back over his shoulder on that play.
So Rolf Pernerska comes in to try a field goal. The line of scrimmage just outside the 22, so this will be about a 39-yard attempt. Ed Luther, the backup quarterback, to hold. Call it a 40-yard attempt, as he'll spot it at the 30. Well, almost close to 31. That's about an 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Pernerska 13 for 20 this year. And the Bills point at the Chargers.
That might be a costly mistake. The Bills, I think, believe that one of the offensive linemen moved, but if they're wrong, they will have given San Diego a first down, and that would indeed be a costly error defensively. You saw them try and draw the team offside, try and draw the they're going to call it against the Bills. This is an interesting defensive maneuver. Now they're trying to, special teams are trying to draw the lineman off sides. And that's legal defensively.
Meanwhile, Fred White's trying to get his officials away from all the players so they can discuss, because there may be differing views of who influenced whom. It's against the Bills. What a break for San Diego.
The defensive team was simply jumping up, trying to get that offense to come off sides on the kicking team for the San Diego Chargers, but it backfired on them.
So the offside gives the first down to San Diego.
Watch it now. They had already jumped up, and thinking that the offense had moved, they stepped forward and made contact. Well, they certainly made a tremendous error defensively. That's going to be costly, as now San Diego has a chance to drive that ball in and possibly pick up the 7 points.
So instead of a 40-yard field goal try, Fouts and the Chargers have a first down at the 19. Wes Chandler. Touchdown. Chandler's 5th touchdown of the year. Fouts' 30th touchdown throw.
I asked Dan Fouts earlier in the year after they'd acquired Wes Chandler. I said, what is Wes Chandler going to be able to do for you? Is he going to fill a spot vacated by John Jefferson? He said, in time, I think he may even be greater than Jefferson was as a Charger. He also said that Chandler runs better with the football than any receiver I've ever seen. And you saw some of that ability on that play, and a pretty spectacular spike as well.
Pernerska's extra point is good. So instead of a 40-yard field goal, a critical offside penalty against 17-yard line. First play, it is bounced to Chandler, and it's now 14-7. So a 5-yard penalty is worth at least 4 extra points to San Diego, maybe even 7. There's no assurance that Bernischka would have kicked the 40-yard field goal. He
Short.
hits this one high and short.
Maybe
Curtis
out of
Brown.
bounds. Nope.
Brown at the 21, 30, and out of the pack to the 34-yard line. Brown from the University of Missouri, as Bernischka didn't quite hit that one cleanly. So the Bills trailing 14-7 have the ball. Let's go back to New York for this update.
All right, Dick, losers in 3 of their last 4 games. The Chiefs may be fading from the AFC West race. Larry Canada's 2-yard touchdown has the Broncos now in front 16-0 as they near the half. Dick?
All right, Bryant, and of course for these teams, Buffalo, San Diego, and for Kansas City and Denver, it's not that a loss necessarily will totally eliminate a team, but with not much time remaining, no one wants to look at something in the L column. And yet some classic duels today against top-rated teams. Denver with the upper hand at Mile High, and here it's San Diego in front 14-7. Ferguson only 1 for 7 passing. Cribbs into a crowd. May have plowed for 2. Late NFL action. Second half of doubleheaders. Dallas apparently on its way to a win, a very important win, in that Philadelphia's lost again. Cowboys 30-13. The Jets in Seattle tied at 6 at the Kingdome in the second quarter. Tampa Bay 7, Atlanta 6. If Atlanta beats Tampa Bay, if Tampa Bay should lose, first of all, Denver 10-0, and it's more than that now. There would be 4 teams tied for the NFC Central Division with 7-7 records. As Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota are all 7-7, and Tampa Bay, if it wins, will be 8-6, but if it loses, will be 7-7. And Cribbs can't get a thing. Woody Lowe was there.
Joe Cribbs trying to pick up that extra yardage. Not only didn't get the extra yardage, didn't pick up what was potentially there for him on that draw play. Woody Lowe reading the play well, dropping inside, able to get a hold of Cribbs. Cribbs not running as well as you would hope he would coming back from that injury. That's understandable. He's probably running in a great deal of pain.
And Roland Hicks did such a fine job in relief of Cribbs. We might just see Chuck Knox go to Hooks. Here's the widespread formation out of the shotgun. Ferguson. 3rd down long at the 36. Has a man open. And Frank Lewis has his first catch of the day.
We got a penalty, Dick. We got a illegal use of the forearm against the receiver there. Looked like maybe Lyndon King, who just smashed Frank Lewis right under the jaw with that big forearm.
That'll be 15 more yards marked from the 43-yard line where Lewis made the catch. There's an interesting side story here today. 2 of the outstanding receivers in the game, the one you've just seen, Frank Lewis, and Charlie Joyner, who had quite a first quarter, were teammates at Grambling.
Personal foul, number 27, first down.
The foul goes against number 27, Glenn Edwards. And their quarterback was James Harris, who was just activated by the San Diego Chargers for today's game. So 2 of Grambling's best, 2 outstanding veteran receivers who have survived through the years with their excellence. Lewis and Joyner, former teammates, pitted against each other in this crucial game today, and both obviously contributing. That was a 21-yard catch plus 15 on the penalty. At the 29. Cribbs got around Johnson, and he's to the 15, the 10, to the 9-yard line goes Joe Cribbs. Gary Johnson couldn't quite put the meat hook on him, and Cribbs on that little screen left has 19 yards.
We'd mentioned that you would watch 2 of the best protected quarterbacks in the league. Buffalo Bills have protected Joe Ferguson better than any team in football. Only 11 sacks on the season. And Cribbs able to get that one after the quick pass, little screen, did some fine running. Get himself good field position. Let's see if they can get to 7 and tie this game.
53, Will Grant through the key block to center. There he is. He took care of 2 men. And Cribbs with a first down and goal at the 9. It's Leaks for a touchdown. Roosevelt leaks. 4th touchdown of the year.
Coming back against the right side of the San Diego defense against Gary Big Hands Johnson. Against John Woodcock. Watch it here, just a little draw play. Leaks again, using his great vision to spot the opening. Breaks to the left side. Looked like he started it up to the right. Got in there without being touched by anyone. Let's see if they can't get this extra point through the uprights. Tie up the ball game.
Boy, it didn't take the Bills long to go the 76 yards to tie it after the San Diego touchdown. Here's Mickemeier's try for point, and it is good. 66 yards in 5 plays for the Buffalo Bills, and with 8.5 minutes left in this first half, it's even again at 14. Roosevelt leaks. Former Longhorn, preceded Earl Campbell, has given the Bills a tie at 14. Mickemeier to kick it off. James Brooks at the goal line for San Diego. Brooks at the 2. 15. 25 and out of bounds. Next week, Saturday, NFL action at noon. Join Bryant, NFL 81, the New York Jets in a battle with the Miami Dolphins, and these Bills for the AFC Eastern title meet Sam Rutigliano's Cleveland Browns. The Browns are out of it this year, but a chance for them to deny the Jets. Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, the scene. We hope you'll be with us. The Browns and Jets next Saturday at 12 o'clock, and then, of course, a full slate of games on Sunday on NFL 81.
Reverse.
Chandler has it at the 25 to 28 9-yard line. Well read by Isaiah Robertson, who held his ground and made the tackle after a short gain. An injured Bill on the play. Let's pause briefly for station identification. From San Diego, this is the NBC Television Network.
This is Channel 4, KNBC, Los Angeles.
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, Jack Murphy, San Diego Stadium, the scene. Back and forth we've gone. San Diego scored first, then Buffalo tied it at 7. The Chargers back to go ahead 14-7. Chuck Knox's Bills have just tied the game at 14 here with 8 minutes and 14 seconds left in the first half. As they attend to Isaiah Robertson, let's pause for this important word. Butch Robertson of the Bills, who made that last tackle, he's okay. Have to sit out this play as the Chargers have the ball at their 29-yard line. 2nd down, 6. A quickie to Chandler, hit immediately by Mario Clark at the 36, and that appears to be good enough for the first down. Chandler with his 5th catch, 46 yards, and has 1 touchdown.
Big Russ Washington, number 70, one of the men responsible for protecting the quarterback. You see how the offensive linemen are using their hands, the arms out wide as he works to keep Big Ben Williams, number 77, away from the quarterback, and on that particular play has to keep him from penetrating because the ball was thrown so quickly.
This is Muncy. They like to run left. Oh, what a tackle at the 39-yard line.
Charles Romes, number 26, the cornerback, up quickly. Took Muncy the only way you'd want to take a running back that big if you're spotting the pounds that he has to. Watch him hit him low right there as Muncy went into the air. Muncy doing a full flip, coming down hard. Muncy caught a defender last week on the leg with the helmet to the knee. Sent him to the hospital, and they had to put him on injured reserve after the ball game in that game against Denver.
Still gain almost 3 yards. 2nd down. Triple right formation. And Fouts looking right. Dumps it out to Muncy. 40. 50. Out of bounds at the Bills' 45. First down. "17 more yards." Fouts to Muncy.
Strap your helmets on. You can get right into this game with us. Fouts with a little outlet pass. We saw that thrown earlier to Muncy, and then Muncy just running with that football, using his speed and his power, lowering that shoulder. What an awesome running back he is when he gets his momentum up.
Mark it at the 44-yard line for Muncie and the Chargers. Chandler in motion. Winslow is split to the right. There's Joyner. One of the few he's not caught, and a flag is down, and Big Ben Williams of Mississippi is pointing at one of the blockers. It's holding against San Diego. Final score in, and the Dallas Cowboys have won again. Baltimore has lost again. That is 13 in a row for the Colts. 37-13 Cowboys as they move in front of the Philadelphia Eagles, who were upset at Washington today.
Holding number 70.
Russ Washington picks up his second call against Big Ben Williams. They've been using Leroy, or not Leroy. They've been using Johnson as a fourth defensive lineman. Ken Johnson coming in to help get some pressure on Fouts, but as of yet, Dick, they have not been able to get any pressure on Big Dan Fouts.
Neither team has recorded a sack.
They haven't recorded a sack, and certainly in the case of Buffalo, they really have not pressured him either.
1st and 20. Fouts going long, and almost a one-handed catch by Chandler. And what Chandler did was deny Buffalo what they thought was an interception.
That's the second pass today that appeared to take off on Fouts. Now, it's possible that Injury has caused Fouts to change his throwing motion a little bit. Normally, he's a very accurate quarterback. But watch this ball thrown above and behind. Certainly right, Dick, that Chandler did a great job in getting his hand back. Tremendous body control to deny the interception on that play. But I've got to believe that laying off, as Fouts had to do early in this week, and operating with injured ribs may indeed be forcing him to do something different in his throwing motion.
Sherman White is out, and number 97, Darrell Irvin, is playing the right defensive end for Buffalo. Brooks and Ben Williams, trailing the play, made the tackle at the 45-yard line after a short gain, if any. Maybe a loss of a yard on that pass, so it'll bring up 3rd down and 21. This telecast, presented by authority of the National Football League, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Diego Chargers and the National Football League is prohibited.
Buffalo Bill defenders talking about playing against Fouts and the Chargers, very concerned about the number of offensive weapons that Fouts has to work with. They were willing to trade some yards and try and keep the points off the board. Have not been able to do that so far. They may have to start attacking with blitzes.
14-14 tie. Fouts ducks from pressure, hits Joyner, and he is finally wrapped up at the 38. That would be short of the 1st down. A flag is also down.
Fouts hit as he threw that football, getting up very gingerly. You see the flak jacket he's wearing. I've got to believe that maybe it's that flak jacket perhaps that caused him to throw a couple of bad passes early. Might alter his throwing motion. You see him drilled there, going to the ground. Look at him grab for those ribs. Oof.
Darrell Irvin putting the pressure on. There was no flag apparently, and at the 39-yard line it is 4th down and 5. 16 yards on that last throw by Fouts, having another big statistical day. And out of Benerska's range, in comes George Roberts. Riddick drops back as the solo safety at the 10. And delay a game against the Chargers, but they don't mind. With the ball at the 39, it gives Roberts more room in which to kick.
I think I indicated that Roberts the only left-footed kicker in the league. Do you remember any other left-footed kickers?
I was wondering about that, but I trust you.
Well, a couple that come to mind. I can't go back as Joe Costanza did to Frankie Albert, but I can tell you about Bucky Dilts. Bucky kicked for the Denver Broncos, and then running back for the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yes, Donnie Anderson. It was an excellent kicker.
Yep.
Indeed. Former Red Raider. Now, after the 5-yard penalty, Roberts aiming for the near sidelines. Looks good, but kicks into the end zone, and it'll be the touchback 20-yard line for the Buffalo Bills. 44, but a net of just 24 for Roberts. I hope someday that the net punting average becomes the statistic, not just the straight punting average. I think it's much more revealing. The San Diego Harbor, huge carrier off in the distance.
Just the fireboats welcoming the carrier in.
Navy Town. Lewis left. Butler right. Joe Ferguson of the Bills. 1st down at their 20-yard line on the touchback. Fergie is 3 for 9, 52 yards passing. It's a 14-14 tie. Less than 5 minutes left in the first half. Nothing going on that draw play as Joe Cribbs wrapped up for a 3-yard loss. Gary Johnson made the play.
Buffalo Bills made a nice gain on that play earlier. A little misdirection. Leaks hitting first and then Cribbs slipping in behind, but they didn't fool Gary Johnson. He stopped it up very admirably.
They give forward progress to the 18, so it'll be 2nd and 12. The Bills have not been a good road team this year. They're 1-4 on the road after a 7-1, a record 7 wins at home this year at Rich Stadium. They are talking proud up in Buffalo. 2nd and 12. Leaks. Tried to go wide, and Woody Lowe made the tackle.
Leaks diving at the end, went right into the back of Ken Johnson's legs. Watch the block by Cribbs, number 20. As he comes up inside to try and take a piece of Woody Lowe, stays right after him. But watch what happens right there. Ken Jones, number 72, really took a shot on the back of the legs. And he's having some trouble. Let's hope that's not an injury. It might just be a contusion, but Ken Jones, a fine offensive tackle, originally started as a defensive lineman. They switched him over, and he's come to play very well in that position. Very interesting story. Ray Prohaska, the offensive line coach for the Buffalo Bills, very concerned in the early going because Jones was getting so many holding calls. And finally, he said in desperation, maybe those officials have just memorized your numbers. At the time, he was wearing number 73. So he said, let's change your number. They changed him to number 72 in the middle of the season. I think maybe that had a psychological impact. Not nearly as many holding penalties in the second half of the season. But he has become an excellent player, Dick.
And he must be in great condition after that picture that we just saw, that knee caving in, and he went off the field as if he's going to be okay.
It's amazing the kind of blows that your body can take. And you can still come back if your body is in condition. And these athletes must be in condition to play this game. Better on a warm day like this, though, than it would be on a cold day. For instance, the kind of day you'd be having in Buffalo.
3rd and 10. Ferguson out of the shotgun. Good protection.
Ooh.
Incomplete, intended for Lou Picone. The little speedster from West Liberty State, the special team star, couldn't get his hands on what appeared to be a good pass.
Picone going to see this one coming in his sleep tonight. Ball should have been caught right into his hands. I think he was looking for traffic, maybe hearing some footsteps as he saw Pete Shaw, number 44, out of the corner of his eye. He should have had that one.
In to kick. Greg Cater had his troubles the first 2 times. It's a beauty. Brooks at the other end at the San Diego 31. 35 and tackled at the 36-yard line. Chris Keating, number 52, made the defensive play. 50-yard punt and a 6-yard return. A 14-14 tie with 3 minutes left in the first half. Well, around the country as we've traveled, football fans, Merlin, have been saying, I can't wait for New Year's Day. Do you fellas ever have a triple header? The divorce lawyers are rubbing their hands in glee already over that lineup. Wait till you hit the calls in the second. It's going to start early with a Fiesta Bowl. And congratulations to San Diego native Marcus Allen of USC. You'll see him against Penn State, the Rose Bowl, Iowa, and Washington. And then Clemson goes for the national championship against Nebraska. Clemson, the only unbeaten team. 1, 2, 3, the first triple header and bowl games on television. That's a lateral. And out of bounds goes Winslow with a big loss at the 25-yard line. 11-yard loss, but Winslow was alert enough to make sure he went after it. And Fouts was angry.
Now, I believe that there might have been a second pass contemplated there because it was a deliberate lateral by Fouts. Winslow obviously knew that that ball was a lateral. As he goes back to get it, all the receivers had gone downfield. I think maybe they were going to turn around and throw that deep, Dick.
Interesting point. And as you said that, we looked, and Wes Chandler was over in the next county. He was very deep. Chandler far left. Joyner near side, only Muncie in the backfield. They go with double tight ends, Winslow left and Sievers right. and pitch it to Muncy. To the 30-yard line, and a flag is down.
We may see the third penalty of the day on Big Russ Washington. It was right on his heels where it landed.
It is illegal use of the hands. Muncy, by the way, with 45 yards today, take away the 5 would be only 40 yards, has 954 for the season, the leading Charger rusher. He's averaging, well, just look at his number, 4.6. That's his average, and anytime you're over 4.5, you're getting more than your share.
Illegal use of the hands in the back. Number 70.
Boy, bad day for Washington, the 14-year veteran from Missouri, who started as a defensive tackle where he could use those big mitts, and then after a couple years was shifted to offense.
Get a chance to see it right there. You are allowed to use those hands on pass blocking, but you're not allowed to use them in extension on run blocking. Washington called for that offense there.
Interesting, they gave the Chargers the 5 yards to the Bills, and there's Ben Williams with the first sack of the game, and another flag goes down. Williams and White were both there. Another penalty against San Diego, but undoubtedly this will be declined because it brings up 4th down.
First sack of the day, finally getting some pressure on Dan Fouts. As we said earlier, that's the key to getting after this San Diego offense. If you can't pressure him.
Holding
66, Billy Shields, the man that they ticketed for that one. Russ Washington glad to get a break, but he's not getting a break from Ben Williams, number 77, who blew around him on that particular play. 83, Sherman White, the man that Shields was holding, also a part of that sack.
Williams, as you saw, led the Bills with 12 sacks last season. Roland Hooks, solo safety at the 32 as Roberts to kick from his 15. Ooh, that's short again. And takes a lateral bounce out of bounds at the San Diego 48-yard line. So punting has been part of the story here in the first half, and the Bills come up with great field position on a 24-yard kick by Roberts. 2:44 left in the first half, and Chuck Knox's team in a 14-14 tie. Although they've been out-yarded by San Diego, they're in position to gain the lead.
Well, they certainly are. Both teams able to take advantage of field position early. The Bills able to pick up a touchdown off an interception. There are the games remaining for the 3 teams in contention. Buffalo, of course, has got to go on the road. New England and at Miami. The other 2 teams.
Jets have had the easier schedule, although they got their hands full with Seattle today. Ferguson almost intercepted and then almost caught by Cribbs. Did he catch it? No.
Ball balancing on his hands.
There's a Buffalo fan.
Cribbs upset with himself. Looked like he had it. Look at the power that Ferguson puts on this ball. I talked about the zip that he can put on the football. Throws it right between 2 defenders. Just rifles the ball. It looked like Cribbs had the football. Now watch what happens to it. Juggling the football, has it 2 or 3 times, but must control that football. We've seen them called for a reception with less control than that during this season under the new rules, Dick.
And Cribbs couldn't find the handle before it hit the ground. He had the ball on the ground and in his hands, no catch. Ferguson 3 for 11 passing. Looks at 2nd and 10. Good protection. There's his man at the 41. Jerry Butler hit immediately by Lyndon King. Short of the first down by about 3.
Jerry Butler, you saw him earlier one-on-one, working on the linebacker. Now King getting back into his territory, zone coverage. Butler coming underneath. King coming back to get in on the tackle, but it's a good gain. Going to be 3rd about 3.
Butler with 2 catches today, 51 for the year. He was 9th in the AFC last year when he caught 57, so he's right on track again. And there's the timeout at the 2-minute warning. About 2 minutes left in this first half, so well played, evenly at 14 all, but it's the Bills in possession. 3rd down at the Charger 41.
Special edition on Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and Dick Enberg, my partner, be there handling the action by himself. And you taking on a load, partner.
Without you, I will.
Good luck to you.
Listen, I want you there just to keep me warm. I want that big body. It is 3rd down and 3 at the 41-yard line. in a 14-14 tie. 2 minutes left first half. Out of the shotgun, Ferguson. Going deep down the middle to Butler. Right there, but broken up by Willie Buchanan when it appeared Butler was open.
Excellent play by number 28, Willie Buchanan. Butler gets a little jump to the inside. He's got a chance to get free here. Buchanan times his move excellently. Watch the hand come across to the inside. Might have tabbed him a little bit early. Did not get the flag. Butler comes up shaking his head and slapping his hands. Wishing he could have gotten his hands on that one. Fourth down, they're going to punt it away.
Buchanan, who played his college football here for Don Coryell at San Diego State. Butler appeared to have pretty good throw aimed at him. Cater to kick. So the Chargers are going to have plenty of time with that Eric Coryell going for them. 1:55 left in this first half, and a delay of game against Buffalo. That'll give Cater a little more punting room to really root one out.
Steve Moore, the special teams coach for the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they'd like to get a little better position to aim for the sideline. Hard for some kickers to
offense, fourth down.
Hard for some kickers to kick at less than full proportion and still angle for the sideline. So very often they'll try and get them back 5 yards so they can take a full swap at it and move it toward the sideline. Kickers have not done well. You'd expect them to do well on a day with no wind and nice and warm. These punters have had their problems today.
Line of scrimmage is the 46. Brooks is at the San Diego 10.
They might be expecting San Diego to come after this one.
They brought in their wide men. Very high.
Ooh, boy.
Quite short. Brooks fair catch. Fumble! And on the muff, he's able to recover at the 13-yard line.
It was a play like that that allowed them to win that game. The Buffalo Bills last week against Washington, recovering a muffed fumble in the second half that they turned into a touchdown. They almost got a big break there as Brooks took that very high kick, bounced off of him, but he was able to get on it before he was completely swarmed over by the Buffalo defenders.
87, Steve Albers, the snapper, was downfield to cover Brooks. Albers, who may get the ball back to the punter more quickly. He throws bullets back there than any center or snapper in the NFL.
And they only had 10 men on the field. They have to get one off the sideline.
Here comes Rod Cushon as Fouts. He's tough enough with 11. He's throwing for Winslow, and what a catch by Winslow at the 34.
Now that's a mismatch. Certainly in height, Rufus Best going up against Kellen Winslow. Winslow just using his long reach to get around. A little disorganized there on the Buffalo side as they had to run an extra defensive man in. Williams doesn't get there to pressure Fouts. Fouts throws a perfect strike, leads in beautifully. Ooh, he got pressure on that one.
And on the blitz, he threw almost an interception by Fred Smerlas, number 76. As the Bills sent someone through cleanly, Jeff Nixon.
Yeah, number 38, Jeff Nixon, coming in there hard. He had 2 sacks last week. Nixon, by the way, was one of the safeties injured in that season game last year here in San Diego. Knocked out for the year. He and Cush both were knocked out in that game. Last week, one of the first games in which he has had extended action, coming in with a 7 defensive backs against Washington. Blitzed in and got 2 sacks on Theismann, a very important factor in their win last week.
He's a ball hawk. He had 11 interceptions the last 2 years. On 2nd and 10, and the flag is down. It's Winslow. Is he out of bounds? Apparently not. He's going to go all the way for a touchdown. Now we'll check the flag. If it's against San Diego, it'll nullify a great individual effort. If not, maybe Buffalo. No, it's against Buffalo. I think the Bills relaxed, thinking that the penalty was against the Chargers, and Winslow alertly kept right on it going. Touchdown.
They're down there congratulating Kellen Winslow. And I've got to tell you, there's going to be a giant powwow over there with Tom Catlin, defensive coordinator. Defensively, you simply cannot try and guess who the penalty is on. you can't guess whether the man stepped out of bounds. You've got to continue until the whistle blows. The Buffalo Bills did not do that on that play, and they pay a 6-point price and maybe a 7-point price for that mistake.
And 55 seconds left in the half. The Chargers are back in front on the 67-yard catch, but it was the running and alert play of Winslow that steals the score. Benerska's try for point. High snap. Good job by Luther. And it's 21-14. And for Dan Fouts, he has 260 yards passing in the first half.
Watch Winslow now. Out quickly to the outside. You'll see him as he tiptoes down the sideline. Now he'll be pushed from the inside. That's Billy Simpson that pushes him toward the sideline. Winslow getting close to the sideline, but did not touch the sideline. Simpson chasing. He does not have the speed of Winslow. Nixon, number 38, the man that finally tripped him up.
I think they relaxed right here because the flag went right down where the catch was made. Right there.
Certainly did. Simpson, it looked like he had the first chance, but Nixon, you could see him easing up. And then finally, in desperation, tries to catch up with Winslow, but to no avail.
It was a combination of the flag and the fact that they thought Winslow was out of bounds. And that one-step relaxation is worth 7 points for the Chargers and Winslow. And it's his 10th touchdown catch this year and his longest of the year. 87 yards in 3 plays.
Fouts rapidly closing in on that 300-yard game. He's getting there in a hurry today.
Only needs 40 yards in the second half. Now it's the Bills down by 7. Short kick. The rookie. This is Riddick. 30, has some blockers, and gets to the 35. 49 seconds left for Joe Ferguson to try to get his team in scoring position.
Well, for all of our aspiring football players watching, a very valuable lesson in that last play. You never stop until the whistle blows. Even if you're sure the man stepped out of bounds defensively and you don't hear the whistle, you've got to go and stop him. You see Chuck Knox shaking his head. Chuck, a street fighter, an offensive line coach, as a young assistant, he still plays a tough brand of football, and he's a little bit upset that he got out snookered on that particular play.
Now that play will be on Brian Gumbel's highlights. NFL 81 at halftime. Stay with us. All the scores, top plays today. Ferguson from his own 35. Flags are down, and the Chargers had their first sack. John Woodcock, veteran end from Hawaii.
Woodcock, the man assigned to take the place of Fred Dean, a pretty tough job. San Diego, or no, Buffalo will be ticketed with a penalty, but obviously they'll wave that off. They would rather have the sack and the yardage.
Illegal motion number 61. Fine.
Sounded like 51, which would be Jim Richer.
61, I think. Lynch is the man that they might have ticketed. We've got 2 ones in there. We got Richer in there, 51, and Lynch, number 61, who's gone in place of Jones.
Only the 11th sack allowed by the Buffalo offensive line this year, leading the NFL. 44 seconds remaining. Ferguson under center may mean they're going to stay on the ground. They do. Cribbs to the 35-yard line. The clock is running at 35. The Bills have their timeouts remaining, but apparently are going to elect not to use them. And ball at the 35, and they're content. Now they stop the clock at the 27-second mark, so they lost about 8 seconds making that decision. Well, the difference in passing statistics, Merlin, are more than dramatic. Fouts is 19 for 27, 260 yards. Ferguson, 4 for 13 and 59 yards. 201 yards less than Fouts.
Ferguson certainly not able to bounce back. He, as we had indicated, had a lousy week of throwing the ball last week. Very upset with himself for the way he played there. You see him talking to Kay Stevenson, the quarterback coach, there with the hat on your right.
I like the way you're working in all the names of the assistant coaches today for the Chargers and the Bills, and I know that is a conscious thing you're doing, and they're so often, much like offensive linemen, the forgotten talents in the football program.
Well, I'm sure that Fouts appreciating the kind of coaching he gets from his coaches. not only don't they get the kind of help that they deserve in terms of recognition, but they also spend such long hours. Often the day of an offensive defensive coach in the NFL stretches on some days to 14, 15, 16 hours. And I think it's nice when we can talk about them, Dick, and give them a little bit of credit.
3rd down 10 Buffalo at the Bills 35 with 27 seconds left. Trailing 21-14 on the ground to Cribbs again. And he gets only 3 yards. Louis Kelcher coming over the top to congratulate Lowe, almost mashed his linebacker teammate.
Woody Lowe was jumping up to try and call a timeout, and Kelcher just about annihilated him. Dick, they're down conversions in this first half. San Diego 2 of 6, Buffalo 2 of 5. But certainly the real clincher for the first half is the big play capability and the passing of Dan Fouts. They simply have, the Buffalo defense has simply not been able to put the brakes on the San Diego offense in this first half.
You said that this man, Dan Fouts, you believe if he stays healthy will break all the significant passing records of Johnny Unitas and all the other great former stars of this league.
He's going to rewrite the record books. Now, there's no question that he's passing and throwing the ball under different rules and different standards, more games, but Fouts, even under the old standards, would have been an incredible quarterback.
Cater to kick, 10-man front for the Chargers. Brooks is back at the 20. They're coming, and he gets away a good one. Brooks lets it bounce, and it goes out of bounds at the 17-yard line. So with 12 seconds left, the Chargers have the ball. We'll see if they'll try to do anything dramatic. Speaking of dramatic, the Bills, of course, have maybe the outstanding single play in that regard of the year against the New England Patriots, where they got the ball with less than a minute remaining deep in their own end, and long pass, and finally the last play of the game, Ferguson just cranked it up and threw that, they call it the Big Ben play in Buffalo, into the end zone, batted around by 4 or 5 players and right into the arms of Roland Hooks for a miracle victory, 20-17, that has kept them in the race. 44 yards on that punt by Cater. See if Fouts goes for one long one. He has Chandler to the right. No, he's just going to ride out the half. Now the seconds tick away. 3, 2, 1, and that is the end of the first half here at Jack Murphy Stadium. The San Diego's Chargers of Don Coryell with a big play from Kellen Winslow late in the first half leave the field at the intermission with a lead 21-14.